The first thing to be said, I think, is that it is much easier to cover US politics from overseas than it is to cover the politics of any other country. Obviously, it helps if you speak English, but for the purposes of this discussion, we're supposing that is the case. There is so much material available online, on the net, including video and film now, that you can spend all day anywhere in the world reading about the American political system and American elections and campaigns, and you will never have time to read it all. So there is the possibility to become to be knowledgeable from a distance in a way that wasn't the case 30 years ago, even 20 years ago, perhaps even a dozen years ago. So you can read a lot, and reading is the main thing that you need to do. It helps, obviously, to have spent some time in America, and I think to have a certain degree of sympathy or empathy for American perspectives, even if you don't agree with them or you find them alien. And for that, I think it's important to have spent some time outside the major cities. I think it's important to have spent some time in the South, in the Midwest, down in the Southwest increasingly as well, to get a better sense of American trends and how things are moving in America. So, you have to spend some time on the ground, I think, to have a real handle on it, but you can certainly have enough of an appreciation to pass yourself off as a plausible expert at a London dinner party just by reading things online. And of course, there are some things that you see perhaps a little more clearly than some Americans. You see, for instance, how little difference there really is in foreign policy between the major parties, although that's something that's flagged up often over here as a considerable difference between them. But really, again, they have much more in common than divides them. But overall, I think the United States is quite an easy country to cover in one respect, because people are friendly and will actually talk to you, which isn't the case everywhere. But I think you also have to have a certain humility and appreciate that the more you read, the more you travel in the United States, the more you appreciate that there's always more to discover, more to learn, more to remember. And that you're never quite finished with America or American politics, partly because there is so much of it. It's such a wonderful spectacle, and I think you have to remember as well that almost every generalization about the United States and American culture and American politics has more than a kernel of truth to it, but none of them is entirely satisfactory. The yes, but is an important qualification to almost everything that you read or write about American politics. But thanks to modern technology, it's obviously much easier to have a reasonable appreciation of how politics is going in the United States than used to be the case.